All right, welcome to chapter 10. Cough drop in. I am fighting a cold, but I have not slowed down. I've actually sped up because I'm not doing as much in other areas, like around the house or in the yard and stuff. Fighting this cold, fighting these allergies that turned into a cold, basically. And I'm just like cranking through these books. I'm actually already on to Jared Tendler's Mental Game of Trading. That's coming next. I'll make a video series on that one. I don't know how I'm going to do that. That's going to be such a long series, but I think that's going to be just as much or more impactful as Tom Hougaard here. But seriously, if Tom ever watches this video, I doubt it. But Tom, man, thank you for writing this book and pouring out onto people around you. I really do appreciate it. The fact that you reach out to the retail trading community means a lot. You could have just stayed inside, spoke to the institutional traders. But anyway, talking to the man like he's ever going to watch this, but that's cool. Chapter 10 detailed breakdown, the myth of certainty. Okay. I've lived here. I've been in this fantasy. I went down this rabbit hole. I thought it was a place that existed that I could be and feel good. It's not there. Okay. It is a myth. Okay. Let's talk about it. Chapter 10 addresses the trap many traders fall into, seeking certainty in a market that thrives on uncertainty. Hougaard warns that the pursuit is not only futile, but it is destructive. All right, waiting for perfect confirmations leads to missed opportunities, hesitations, and overanalysis. And in my opinion, FOMO. Okay, FOMO. Because you waited for the perfect confirmations. Let's say you had 80% confirmations, but you're waiting for the perfect confirmation so you can be certain where the market's going to go. And you know for a fact that this is a good trade. All right? Think about that. You can't trade like that. I'm sorry. Because you put that trade on and you waited for perfect confirmations, right? And it doesn't play out. And all of a sudden your entire world is crashed down on you. And I know this for a fact because I've felt this. All right? Nowadays, I take way less confirmation. It takes way less confirmations to get me in it. It takes like two. All right, maybe a few more. But what I'm saying is we sweep time-based liquidity with a displacement and maybe a CISD and fair value gap or something. Like not even all of those, just some of those. I'm in the trade. And then I do my best to say, let's see how this plays out. I don't care. Okay, but waiting for those perfect confirmations, all right, to all line up, for all the stars to align. Usually when all the stars align, that's when the market does something unexpected. And I'm gonna tell a quick story. I was on a call with the guys, a bunch of traders. A few of these traders were actually working on a trading floor, not like at the New York Stock Exchange, but they were in office, and we were all trading Bitcoin. And these guys, like everybody on the call, was longing because the market just looked bullish as all get out. Every piece of TA was bullish, right? And for once, I was right on the call. All right, I'm going to preface with that because I'm not telling the story to tell you I was right, but there's a little meat in the story I want you to understand. Everybody thought the market was going to go up, so they're going around, they're sharing their screens, they're talking about their analysis, they're looking at this indicator, that indicator, and they're like, "What are you doing? I'm longing. I'm long. I'm long. I'm long. I'm long." And they're like, "Yeah." Everybody knows we're going long, and they get to me, and by now I'm like, I'm the only one shorting. I was like questioning my trade. I thought about closing it, but I'm like, I'm gonna leave it alone. And they get to me and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm short." And they're like, "You're what? In this bullish? Blah blah blah. It's short." And I was like, "Well, yeah." I was like, we looked at this and I talked about this and trap traders, swept liquidity, displacement, fair value gaps and whatever. And the market just ripped down. I mean, ripped down. Smoked them out of their trades and just like put me in profit in under like 5 minutes, like almost all the way to my TP. And everybody on the call was like, "Whoa, how did you, whatever," right? And because usually I was wrong on the call. So let's just get that out of the way. I'm not telling the story to be like, "Whoa, look at me." But what it was is everybody thought the market was bullish. So what did the market do? The opposite. Okay. So you can't just sit here and stack confirmations to provide yourself with certainty. It's not going to work. The market is a very uncertain place. I don't even know if that's how you say that. All right. So here we go. He emphasizes the market as a place of probabilities, not guarantees. We need to get that through our heads. Okay. You can never be certain of where it's going to go. Successful traders do not need to know, they need to act with confidence based on their system. Okay. What you need to know is that you can trust your system. That's what you need to know. And your system, and I'm telling you, most of these 7-figure traders I'm connected to, they only close like 50 to 60% of their trades in the green. I used to close like 70 or 80, and the lower my win rate has been coming lately, the more money I make. And that's weird. Okay? But it's because I'm trading more like them, right? And so I'm making more money. And it's kind of a weird thing. Like I'm willing to lose more to make more money. You know, some of the most famous traders, right? The turtle traders. If you guys have ever studied them, I would love to have a personal connection with one of them. If you're a turtle trader, reach out to me. Yeah, right. All right. So these traders closed like, man, some of them were like 20 to 30% in the green, but they made millions. Okay. You got to be willing to operate within the system that is created, okay? And be willing to lose. That's what I'm trying to say. You need to be willing to lose. All right? One of the guys who personally trained me, his win rate was like 40%, but he bankrolled. Now, I had a hard time with his strategy because you have to be willing to lose more than you win. Like 60% of the time, you're losing. And especially when you're first starting out, because maybe I was closing 35%. Okay. But like I'm just being honest. My mental game had a hard time losing that much. So therefore, there was a lot more FOMO and a lot more, hesitation because I'm like, just another loss coming, just another loss, And I really, I didn't have the maturity to handle his strategy. Even though for him, like he showed me charts, this, that. I mean, this bankroll, you know? So anyway, the only thing you need to know is that your system works. I know 5 or 6 strategies that'll work. You just got to be willing to have like a 50%-ish win rate. All right. And of course, it gets better over time because as you operate within the system that you're spending all of your time in, you're going to get better because you will build a healthy intuition, right? With that system. There's times sometimes I'm like, I'm not getting my actual confirmations. Oh, going in anyway. Because it's a little bit of intuition like, okay, I didn't get a fair value gap. Well, so what? Maybe I got a bullish engulfing candle, right? Maybe it was just a little bit different of a confirmation. But it is my system. It is my setup. It is my edge. It was just, I didn't get the perfect confirmation. Doesn't mean I won't take the trade, right? Okay. Getting on a rant. All right. You need to act with confidence based on your system. Okay. The myth of certainty makes traders afraid to lose. All right. If you're afraid to lose every trade you take, this might be one of your problems. Okay. And Jared Tendler does an amazing job of actually creating a system to fix your myth of uncertainty. Okay. But Tom points out that this myth is super destructive. And in my opinion, it's like Wonderland. It's like Peter Pan coming to your window saying, hey, let's go to the, let's go trade together and I'll show you, what it's like to have a perfect trading system. And then he whiffs you off into the clouds and you fly into a land that doesn't exist. It's not a good thing. This needs to be broken. Okay. You need to be willing to lose 50% of the time, 100%, especially right away. Like just assume you're going to be just under 50%. And so what? If you've got a, if you've got a good enough R&R, you'll be fine. All right, so let's keep going. The myth of certainty makes traders afraid to lose. Okay, like I said, if this is you, please pause here, go buy the book if you don't have it, and look into this a little bit more. Okay. paralyzing them into inaction and poor timing. So a lot of times when you're paralyzed into inaction, and this is kind of an outcome of not being able to take action, because then you see the trade playing out and then you FOMO in, and then your R&R is screwed up because you should have been in earlier. Your stop loss is not in the right place. You're so much closer to your take profit, so you've missed out on profits. Okay, it does all kinds of terrible stuff instead of just being like, I'm gonna risk it for the biscuit. Let's go. Okay, all right. Hougaard, forgive me, guys. All right, Hougaard encourages traders to embrace uncertainty by framing trades as probabilistic bets. All right, I'm wearing my hoodie from high school. All right, and I'm an old man. This is my surfing hoodie, Quicksilver from high school. I bought this. This thing's like 20 years old, man, and it's in great shape. I don't know what they made this out of, but if I go back, I'd buy like 10 of them. I'd have all kinds of them. All right, this thing has lasted, and I mean, I wear it. All right, but I want to get a new one. I want to get a new hoodie that says probabilistic bets, because that's a serious word. Okay, but that's the mindset we need to have, is that when I frame a trade and I throw the dice down the table, I need to be willing to win or lose and not let it affect me emotionally, right? And I'm not betting everything on like the most crazy, probabilities, like the 1 to 100. I'm not going to try and take a trade and get a 1 to 100 R&R. But I'm talking about like, you coming in and you're trading prop firms. Guess what? It needs to be realistically based off of a probabilistic bet, right? The goal is not to be sure. It's to be prepared, disciplined, and most importantly, consistent. Okay. This is what I struggle with even still, right? I go on consistent streaks and I make money. And then for whatever reason, whatever myth I'm buying into or whatever I allow my mindset to slip into, I start to size up, FOMO into stuff, feeling like I can't be wrong. I mean, you name it, I do it wrong, right? And then I have to kind of like back out and then come back and reground myself into consistency. Okay. And then I go back to making money. So I'm still training myself in this. I am still not perfect in this area. So traders must act despite not knowing. This is what's hard. I've had people that are like, they want that golden strategy, then they want my strategy, which I'll share 100%, no problem. And, you're never going to know for certain. You have to be willing to act despite not knowing, right? You really have to just like visualize the win, visualize the loss, and be good either way. And that's a hard thing to do, especially with the 50% win rate and you go on 7 loss streak. That's hard. You lose 7 trades in a row. Most of the time when that happens, I end up blowing an account. But I know that that's just a part of it. And I'll pick back up and I'll go on a winning streak and I'll get something funded and then I'll get a payout and then I'll get a payout. And I'm like, cool. And unless I'm way up, if I hit that 7 loss streak again, which does happen, and if I don't FOMO, okay, if I FOMO maybe a couple times or revenge trade a few times, maybe it's 9 or 10 losses, then I get smacked down again. But that's a part of it, right? That's a part of the consistency, actually. Because when you go to winrate.com and you type in 55% win rate and you hit simulate, and then you go look at it, you're like, wow, I can lose a lot of trades in a row. But what you have to remember is you can win a lot of trades in a row too. And that's not up to you. It's not up to your skill set. It's not up to your knowledge, right? That you've learned you're gonna make that happen. It's just gonna happen, right? Because you're being consistent in your edge, and you're gonna hit those loss streaks, and then you're gonna hit those win streaks. And when you hit the win streaks, that's why I like prop firms, because I can pull it out. I can take a big payout, and I'm like, nice. So if I blow this account, who cares? My next losing streak, which probabilistically says it's going to happen, who cares? I made money. I'm moving forward. Okay? Traders must act despite not knowing. This chapter urges readers to build systems they trust and then follow them regardless of uncertainty. This is big. This is what most people don't do, is build a trust in their system. And the reason why, okay, and this is me, All right. This was me. I build a system, I play it, I test it. I'm like, yeah, I found it. I apply it. I hit that loss streak. I feel like the system's broken. I move on to the next and rinse and repeat over and over and over again. And I keep searching and searching and searching and searching. All right. And then I never get the opportunity to build this trust. Okay. I've been through streaks where like 40 trades, you win like 32, 35 of them. And you're like, this is the greatest strategy on the planet. Right. But then the next 40 trades, you only win 18 of them and the rest are losers. It's the same system. Right. So if I look at all 80 trades, I'm doing good. But if I only group like that 20 where that 40 or whatever, and I lost 18, and so like my win rate's like 45%, I'm like, ugh. I want to throw that system out. But the system makes money. Okay. So you need to take the time and truly learn to trust a system. Okay. and be able to follow it regardless of uncertainty. Because when I get not 18 losses in a row, but when I get a huge pool of losses, I'm just going to keep going, right? I'm just going to keep playing it because I've built trust in how I trade. All right. And that took a lot of time. All right. So let's talk about application. Okay. So self-reflection prompts. Do I hesitate because I'm waiting for certainty? Okay. If that's you and you see a trade and you're like, oh, that's a trade. And then you're like, well, let me make sure. Let me look at this time frame. Let me look at that time frame. What about this? Let me check this indicator. What about this indicator? What about this one? Hit your buddy up on Discord. Hey, man, what's going on? You see this? All right. Are you searching for certainty? Because you're not going to find it. All right. So just don't hesitate. Just take the trade. Who cares? If you win or lose, whatever, right? Don't put enough on this trade that you're going to care. Okay? Get a $50,000 combine for $49 a month and go in one micro. You could do lots and lots and lots and lots of trades and testing, and it should take you a long time to blow that account. And if you blow it really fast, you might want to take a step back and look at your mental game, okay? And maybe you don't have a system yet, and that needs to be developed, right? I've totally been there. I've ruined my system with my emotions, all right? Trust me. How much do I rely on confirmations before entering a trade? Okay. Listen, it is important to have a system for sure. Okay. It really is. You need to make sure that, you're not just like gambling. Like, oh, I think it's going up. Oh, I think it's going down. You do need confirmations. Okay. But allow yourself some wiggle room, right? Like, I'm not so tied to my, trading system. I'm like, oh, I didn't get a fair value gap. I ain't taking this. No, maybe I just got the sweep of liquidity with the displacement. Sometimes that's enough for me. Maybe because I don't have as many confirmations, maybe I go in a little bit lighter, right? I don't know how much lighter you can go than one micro, but usually I trade between 3 and 7 micros. I'm not a big heavy hitter. I like the idea of it takes me like 2 weeks to get a payout. I know guys that get a payout like in the first week, the first 5 days over 200, bam, they're getting paid. Usually it takes me a little bit longer than that. Okay. So how much do I rely on the confirmations before entering a trade? Okay. You're never going to be certain. So just be willing to operate within your system that you've given yourself, but don't wait for perfect confirmations. I'm going to have to do some editing. Am I willing to be wrong, but still take the trade? Okay. Like I told you, I visualize the win, I visualize the loss, and I convince myself that both are okay. That has helped me tremendously. All right. So let's talk about application. Okay. Accept uncertainty. Okay. Know that this is a market that is uncertain. You are gambling. I don't care what people say. Okay. I don't care what people say. You're gambling. The difference is you're gambling with an edge. Okay. The reason why I say it's important you need to identify this as gambling is because it helps you handle the mental game of gambling. All right. You don't become a poker shark without training. Okay, that's what this is. And if you can accept the fact that you are gambling and that this is a very uncertain game, you accept that you can win and you accept that you can lose, right? Without that emotional upheaval that people talk about. I'm telling you, I've talked to people, punch monitors, throwing keyboards. I've worked with a lot of people one on one. You know, I'm in a handful of discords that are extremely active, and people know me as someone that they can reach out and talk to. Okay, I've helped a lot of people, so even though I have to look in the mirror and help myself, and a lot of times I'm on the other end going, I feel you because I felt that way the other day. But what Tom Hougaard says about how to fix this, or what Jared Tendler says, or what I have successfully done a few times to pull myself out of tilt. I was on tilt like last week, and I was able to pull myself out of it before smoking an account. Okay, so I'm not saying like I don't go through the same stuff, right? But anyway, the quicker you can accept it, the quicker you can like convince yourself that losing is okay, right? And use affirmations like, I don't need to know. I need to follow my system, right? If you don't have a system, just DM me on Discord, whatever. I'll help you. I'll send you a video. Here you go. There's your system. Do it. All right. Focus on preparation, build checklists and pre-trade routines for confidence. Okay. So preparation is big, right? If you feel like you're ready to go, you'll have more confidence. But the idea of this is to be confident that this is a very uncertain game. So don't prepare to win. Prepare to follow your system regardless of the win or loss. Okay? Don't prepare to win because you're not going to win, right? I know that sounds terrible, but in all reality, if you focus on winning, the losses are going to kick you down so hard you're not going to get back up. All right? All right, ditch the need for perfection. Okay? That's going to be very important. You can't have it. You can't have perfection. All right, ditch the need for it. And execute when conditions meet your criteria, not when you feel sure. You're never going to feel sure. A lot of times, winning, kind of funnily, is going to feel wrong because you're going to enter a trade and be like, oh, I'm not so sure. And then it runs your TP and you're like, whoa, okay. All right. Until you really, really, really trust your system and you've traded hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of trades, that's when maybe you'll be able to trust your feelings and intuition a little bit more. But until then, right, until you've done thousands of trades of the same exact setup, you need to document your feelings because they're important. But you need to be able to be willing to ditch the perfection and execute when conditions meet your criteria, okay, of your edge. Think in probabilities. Use phrases like high probability setup instead of perfect trade, okay? And you guys have to remember too, just because it's a high probability setup doesn't mean it's a W in your bag, right? You can't, you're thinking in probabilities, you're not thinking in certainties. Remember that, okay? So high probability setups are going to lose, okay? Just hopefully they win more often than not, all right? But that takes trust and that's built into your system of doing hundreds of trades, like I just said. All right, take action despite doubt. Okay, if you're feeling doubtful but you are hitting, your criteria, then just take the trade and be willing to lose. Okay, and then journal every time you acted while uncertain and the results of it. All right, this right here, I feel this all the time, even today. Like I feel it. You need to be willing to take action despite the doubt, despite your uncertainty. But journal it, and then that way you understand how you're feeling, and then you can also document the results. Okay, so that way you can see that a lot of times your feelings are not going to match the results. Okay. All right, so action steps this week that should help you. These have helped me a lot. Track how many trades you would skip waiting for more confirmations. Okay, more confirmation, more confirmation, just, yes, create an edge, build it, but then allow yourself some flexibility, allow yourself some like, okay, so this is what I'm looking at. This is my edge. I see most of it, I'll take the trade and be willing to lose, right? And then also be willing to win. Right out, I accept risk. I act on edge, not certainty. Okay. You are uncertain if your edge is going to play out at that time. Like I said, most people end up, closing like 50 to 60% in the green. And those are people that have been doing it for a long time. So maybe tell yourself 40 to 50% is going to be your close rate. Okay. So you can't take a 1 to 1.5 R&R and be profitable. You're going to have to shoot for more than that. All right. But it needs to be based on an edge, actual market, structure and all kinds of stuff like that. Okay. Before each trade, affirm my edge plays out over time, not this one trade. Okay. That's why I really do visualize the win and I visualize the loss. And I say, okay, I'm willing to lose and I'm also willing to win. And I try to make sure I don't get overexcited about a win, because when that happens, I just want to get into another trade immediately. So that way I can get another W. So I can feel that feeling again. Right. But that's not how that should work either. All right. So reflect on, what is my relationship with uncertainty? Are you okay with being wrong? As you guys know, if you've watched my other videos, I'm not okay with being wrong. But I need to tell myself I am. It's okay. All right. So go through these this week. And I'm telling you, this is the stuff that's going to change your trading and flip it on its head and make you profitable. It's not going to be some golden strategy. It's going to be this mixed with a solid edge. It doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to be golden. It just needs to be solid. Okay. And there's a lot of great solid, strategies out there. You just need to have the right mindset. Okay. The best traders live in uncertainty and act anyway. Tom Hougaard. All right. So I really hope this video has been helpful for you. You can download this at the link below. It's just a Google thing. So I just shared it out. You don't even have to give me your email or anything like that. I am not to the point where I'm doing any kind of marketing other than saying, like my video and share it out with somebody. But I really hope you do that, not so I can get 2 more subscribers, but that we can help people, See, what I've learned in this is, when I'm helping others, I'm helping myself as well. So I do have some selfish ambition behind this. Do you know how many times I've read this book now? I read the book a time, like a whole extra time I read the book through, and then certain chapters I read twice because they spoke to me directly. And then I wrote this out, right? And then I made these videos. That's a lot of review for me, right? This is going to make me a better trader. So anyway, that's my selfish ambition. Help others, and then I'll end up helping myself even more. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and good luck with this coming week in your trading.